in any firm or anywhere, Power Query is a very useful tool. Okay, it's actually a very powerful tool, and it is available in all the versions of Excel. Okay, Power Query is actually available in all the versions of Excel. Okay, now let us just go ahead and see what is actually Power Query. Okay, so first thing is, see, as we said, data connections. It means that Power Query can connect to any source in the any it can actually connect to any kind of source and pull the data into Excel. Okay, so when I say any kind of source, it can be a text file, it can be SQL, it can be an ERP, any data source. Even a web connection also is possible to a website. It can pull data from website also. So lively, it can pull the data from website and help us for analysis also. Okay, so first thing we'll see where the Power Query is there in our Excel file. Okay, so in the data tab here, if you see, there is something called as get. So in the get data, we have various options here. So this is where our Power Query is situated. Okay, let me just create a new Excel file to show you a Power Query here. So now if you see, we have a data tab, and in the data tab we have get data here, where we can actually get the like data from various file sources, various connections, various website connections. So for example, if I am doing stock trading and I am doing all my analysis in my Excel file, what I can do here is I can pull all the data from some website which is providing the live update of a stock price, like even a minute to minute, second to second update also. You can directly pull it through Power Query into Excel, and then I can just do what I can do, whatever analysis is required for me. Okay, so Power Query is a very powerful tool and it's a very useful tool. I'll show you certain uses of it today. Okay, so today is a very interesting session. So now let us just see how to pull data from different sources in Power Query. Okay, so I have different sources here of where I can actually pull the data from. Okay, so here if you see, I have three file types here. When I say file types, what it means is, see, this is a text document, this is a comma separated value, and this is a Microsoft Excel worksheet. Okay, so these documents I have, which I have to pull the data into Excel, and I have to pull it through Power Query only. Okay, so the first thing I'll show you guys here, see, when we have similar file types, for example, yeah, well, let us just first see how to pull data basically from any file. So here in the get data, if I go into get data here, there is an option called from file, and from file, in the from file option, I can just select from text. Okay, so as soon as I'm selecting text here, now it is asking me where my file is located. Okay, it will just go to a file browser where I have to browse through the data to actually say where my file is located. So I'll just locate my file through this particular address itself. Okay, so here my files are located. So since I have selected a text file, so what I'll do here is I'll select the text file and then import it into Power Query. As simple as that. So when I'm importing, you can see now I'll be getting a Power Query navigator here. It will first form a connection with the file, and then it will show me a Power Query navigator where I can select the data that I want. Okay, so this is where the Power Query navigator is there. So my data is there in one particular column, and this is just the preview of data. This is not the whole data that is there in the text file. Okay, so since I am saying that this is okay for me, I don't want to transform it right now. So what I can do here is I can just say load. Okay, so once I load it, what will happen? It will get loaded into sheets. Okay, so this is how we basically import any data in Excel. Okay, so you can see instantly how many rows, 1096 rows were loaded into the Excel file from the text file through Power Query. Okay, so this is how we import data into Excel through Power Query. This is a very basic example. Okay, now let us just see some more other options here. So from when I'm saying get data from file, and for example, I want to import now the Excel workbook. Okay. So once I want to import the Excel workbook, I'll just go here, and you can see there are two Excel workbooks here. So what I'll do, I'll just say from first file, I'll say import here, and once I say import, You can say I'll again get a Power Query Navigator which is different for different file types. Okay. So here, since I'm importing Excel file, yes. Now it is showing me that this particular Excel file has 4 sheets. Okay. Now in this 4 sheets, I can select any sheet which has data here. Okay. So I can just go here, and when I'm checking here, I can just see that the data is there only in one particular sheet, that is category sheet. So I'll just select this select multiple item option. I'll select the categories option here, and I'll just say transform data for now. Okay. See, why I'm saying transform data is I don't want to each and every time import here and then edit everything. Okay. So what I want to do, I'll just say transform data for now, so that I can edit it in the Power Query editor itself, and then I can bring it to Excel in my required format. Okay. So this is what is my Power Query editor, and it exists within Excel itself. So when you are importing files through Power Query and when you want to transform data, you can see this particular editor here. Okay. So when I want to import more files from here, what I can do here is I can just go to transform here, home transform. Okay. Data source settings. Hmm. Okay. So this is what is a Power Query editor here. And here in this editor, you can see I have imported 2 queries here. So 2 queries are nothing but 2 file types that I've imported here. So why it is called as queries is the file only gets connected through a query. Okay, so when I say it is query, it is not the exact file being copied here, only a connection through which a data is pulled. Okay. So even if the file is changing later on, even if I go to that Excel file and change something there, everything will get automatically updated here, get updated here if I refresh it. Okay. If I refresh the Power Query, it will get updated here. Okay. Now what I'll do, I'll just go to new source here. From here itself, I'll just import the Excel file. There is one more Excel file that we need to import, right? So I'll go to new file, from file, and again Excel workbook. And the second Excel workbook, I'm importing it into Power Query. Okay. So in this Excel file, there is only one sheet. So I'll just select one sheet and I'll say OK here. So it will automatically get loaded as query here. You can see automatically a query will be added at the left hand side. Sheet 1 is added, correct? Now in the same way, what I want to do, I want to import one more CSV file. We have other, I think, yeah, 2 CSV files which we need to import. So I'll just import one by one. No, 3 CSV files we have. So we'll just import one by one. You can see now it is getting imported. Now the next thing, another CSV file. So I'll just go text in CSV. And again, I imported store details, right? I'll import store size first, and then we'll import the store sales retail first after that. Okay. Yes. Now there's one more file that is pending. I'll import that file also here. Sales retail file, import. I'll say okay. Yes. So now we have imported 6 file types here. Okay. There are 6 file types that I've imported here. I mean 6 files that I've imported. The types of files are 3 file types. Okay. So once I've imported into Power Query, you can see right now these are dates, correct? These dates are not recognized here. So first thing I have to do is I have to change the column name properly. So I'll transform the data here itself. I'll just double click on the date column here. I'll transform it. Then I'll select the date column here. And then what I'll do here, I'll just say convert. When I just right click on this and I'll go to change type, you can see it is asking me I can convert it into date format, and I have converted right now this into date format. Same way I'll go to category table. In the categories table, I'll just find out if there is any abnormalities that needs to be changed. So there are certain duplicates here in the categories table. So to remove duplicates, what I can do, I can select this whole column. I can go to remove rows, and in the remove rows, you can see I can remove the duplicates here. As simple as that. Okay. After that, what I'll do, I'll go to sheet 1, and in this sheet 1, what is there? This is retail fixed cost sheet. So I'll just add retail fixed cost. And now what I can do here is, here the data is proper. So what I'll do, I'll just let it be as it is. And in store details, you can see the data is little bit haphazard, correct? So to actually transform this data, first we need to understand what is happening here. So to understand here, I can see there is store type here, which is core, digital, local, and OPS. Okay, this is just a dummy entry. 99 is just a dummy entry. So what I can do, I can just filter it out directly. I'll just go to the filter, remove the 99 here from the dummy entry, and I'll say okay here. So that dummy entry is now removed. Now if you see, here there are store types. Okay, so we need to understand first what is happening in the data. Right now we know what is a pivot data, correct? So if you remember the pivot data also will be shown like this only. So the store type is shown once, but the core store type belongs still here. So from here to here, it's fully core only. Okay, so from here to here, it is fully core store type only, correct? So in that case, digital is from here to here, local is from here to here. So the first thing I identify here is the store type. The word store type is not required. So what I'll do, I'll just go to the transform tab here, and there is something called as replace values. I'll use replace values to replace the store type word here. Okay. So I'll just say STORT. Exactly. I'll just type exactly what value to find and what I have to replace it with. Correct. So I want to replace it with nothing. So I'll just say okay. Now you can see automatically the store type, word store type here is removed everywhere. Correct. Now I have only store types only. Okay. The word store type is gone. Now what I want to do is I want to fill these things down. So before filling it down, we need to know that we have two kinds of blanks in Power Query. Okay. First thing is the normal blank which is visible to us, and there is one more kind of blank which is null. So if I have null values here only, then only I can use fill down. So what I'll do here is I'll select this row, I'll go to replace values, and then I'll just say wherever there's blank, I want it null. I want it to be null here. Okay. So once I say it is null here, you can see everywhere the null is filled. Now what I can do here is I can use a fill option here to fill it down. You can see now all my core type is still here in the same way, digital from here to here, local from here to here. So my data in this particular column is now proper. In the same way, you can see there is something called as store location. So in the store location, the location is also there and the division is also there. The division data is a separate column data, correct? So the first thing we need to do is we need to split it into two columns. So we'll use the split column option here, and I'll say by delimiter, because it is actually, see, if you remember in the text to columns, we learned what is a delimiter, right? A delimiter is any common symbol which is separating two columns. So here the delimiter is nothing but a semicolon itself. So semicolon I have selected here, and if I say okay, you can see what will happen. It will get split into two different columns. Okay. So once it is split into two different columns, you can see here the USA division which has to come into this column has come into this column, and the location which has come into this column should be here. Correct? It's just interchanged. The columns are interchanged. Since the columns are interchanged, what I need to do is I need to properly arrange the columns. So for that particular thing, what I'll do here is I'll add a column with a condition. So I'll add a conditional column here. And in the conditional column, I'll give a custom name. I'll just say it's store location. And here in the condition, what I'm specifying is if in store location 1, if it equals to USA space division, exactly as the data is what I want. If it is USA division in store location 1, I want store location two's data. Else, what I want the same data which is there in store location 1 itself. So I'll just say okay. Now you can see a third column is created with all the proper data here, and you can see the data where it was interchanged is now properly arranged in one column in this particular column, correct? So now since I don't require these two columns, I'll select these two columns holding control, right click on this and remove the columns. Okay, as simple as that. So now this kind of transformation is also done. Now the next thing here is what I'll do in the store size. If you see the store size has certain text in it. Obviously a text I don't want in a number column, correct? A number should be separate in separate column and text should be separate in separate column. So in this case what I'll do here is I'll select the store size here and I'll just say I'll go to replace, I'll go to transform here, replace values. Since I don't want the word SQFT, I know the store size is already in square feet. I'll just replace it with nothing so that that will be removed there. And now my column type, I'll just change it to whole number because this is store size, correct? So it's in square feet. So I'll just change it into whole number. In the same way, we have sales retail data here. Okay. So this particular sales retail data is nothing but transaction wise sales of each and every day. Okay. It's each and every day sales here. Now, this particular data, what I need to actually do here is, you can see it has been imported as it is into the Power Query as it is in the Excel file. So from the first column, first row to the 10th row, I don't want it. Okay, this is not a relevant data to me. My table starts from the 11th row. So what I'll do here is I'll go to Home tab. I'll go to transform. Yeah, I'll go to Home tab. I'll just say remove rows. And I'll say top rows. Remove top rows and I'll just say remove top 10 rows here so that it will remove the top 10 rows for me. Now my first row has all the headers. So what I'll do, I'll just go to choose first row as headers. If I click on this, the headers will be promoted to the column names. Okay. Once the headers are promoted to column names here, what I can next do is see I have to make my data proper. So when I want to make my data proper here, you can see the sales is in the same format which was there in previous table, right? In the pivot format. So what I need to do, I just need to click here. I need to first fill it with nulls, fill the blank values with null, correct? So what I'll do, wherever it is blank, I'll just say it should be null. I'll say okay, and then I'll fill down the data wherever it is null. Okay, as simple as that. Now my sales, this metric column is fine. Now my store ID column is also fine. Category column is also fine. Since I don't require this column, I'll just right click on it and remove this particular column. And then if you see right now, this particular data is a pure data, correct? So the dates are coming in columns, but I want dates in rows. Okay, generally the date should be in a row format, right? Like this. Right now my dates are coming in columns. So what I'll do, I'll just select these three columns here and I'll just go to transform tab here and I'll say unpivot columns, unpivot other columns which are other than these three columns. These three columns are fine. I want to unpivot all the other columns. So I'll just say unpivot other columns. So now you can see now it is converted into normal date value where it is in this particular one column, correct? So I'll just rename this as date column and here I'll just change the type to date and time so that now it will properly recognize it as date and time. Okay, now this is date and time. In the same way, what I'll do, this is my value column, so I'll just change the type of this to decimal number because it has decimals also. Okay. Now, once I have done this, the second thing that I have to do here is I have to check for errors. Okay. So if there are any errors, there are two ways to check. First thing is I'll go to view and I'll go and take the column quality here and I can see whether there are any errors or not. Certain errors are not caught by column quality also. Okay. So in that case, what I can do here is I can select this particular column here and I can just say, um, go to home tab here, keep rows and keep error rows. So I'm just saying whatever error rows are there, just show me that. So here, since the error rows are being shown, I can see that there are errors in the data. So I'll just remove this particular step here. Now what I'll do, I'll just select this. I'll just say remove rows and I'll just say remove any row that has error. So I'll just remove those rows, as simple as that. Now, once it is removed, now what I have to do here is see, based on this particular data here, the sales and the margin. Here, if you see, if I apply a filter, there are two things here. First is the sales and then the margin, correct? So when I have sales in the margin here, these two are columnar data. It is there in rows right now. Actually, I want this value to be sales and margin separately, correct? So this particular data, what I'll do is I'll select this particular column, go to transform, and since this is already an unpivoted data, I'll pivot this particular column here, saying that what is my value column? My value column is value itself. Here, see, this is my value column. So I'll select this, and if I say OK here, now you can see what is happening here. It is now getting separated into sales and margin, two different columns here. Now the values will get pivoted here. Okay. Now once my values are pivoted, you can see sales and margin have now come into columns. You can see there are certain null values. So what I'll do, I'll directly filter it and I'll remove the nulls and zeros, because wherever there is zero sales and there is null, I don't want that data. So I'll just filter it out, and the rest of the remaining data is what I want. Correct. Okay. So now if you see, these are what are my columns, and this margin column is percentage. So I'll see it into a percentage type as percentage here. And since all my transformations are done, what I'm trying to do here right now is I'll just go to the home tab. Once my transformations are done, once it is stopped loading here, I'll go to home tab. And in the home tab, what I'll do, I'll just say close and load. So once I close and load it, what will happen? Every data which I had imported from, see, I had imported 6 different files. Now it is coming into 6 different sheets. Every data will be loaded into this particular Excel file, and now I can go ahead and use. You can see how many data is loaded also is being shown in the left and right hand side of the Excel. So 6,240 rows, 40 rows, 50 rows, and this particular sales retail data might be much bigger. So we'll just see how big it is. So you can see how quickly the data is bought into Excel. So if I have to just go and copy paste each and every data from each and every file type, that is a too hectic for me, correct? So I can use a Power Query to directly import the data from other file to this file. Okay, as simple as that. So this is a very, very easy option that is available to me, where I can import many files together in one particular Excel file itself, and I can use it as I want. So here you can see now number of rows that are loaded are being shown here. Okay. So 2,68,702 rows are being loaded in the Excel file here, plus over and above that 6,240. You can see how quick my importation was. Had you gone and done this manually, obviously this 2,68,000 rows and all the other rows, first thing, transforming would have taken a lot of time. And the second thing is, it would have not got copied and pasted so fast and easily, because Excel files hang very easily. So Power Query makes it easier for me to actually import the data into Excel file, and then I can directly start using these tables or sheets whichever I have created here. Okay. So these files, what will happen is these are very dynamic. So even if something changes in the original file, I just need to go to data and refresh it all, so that all the files will again get refreshed. Whatever new data is there will be imported into Excel automatically. So each and every time there is any change in the data, every change will be updated here in my sheet without any hindrance. So no need for me to again and again copy paste. So once I copy paste, what will happen? I'll have to again and again copy paste it, right? But in this case, I just have to refresh it. So the data will keep on refreshing automatically, and it will keep on updating automatically. As simple as that. So you can see how powerful a Power Query tool is here, just for importing data from different files. And in this one particular, I'll just show you one more example here, how to import from web, okay, the data from web. So if suppose if I want to go to here to Google Finance, for example, okay. So if I want to import stock market prices, you can see there are various stock market prices which are lively changing from Google Finance website, right? So in that case, how do I import it in my Excel file, correct? So again, I'll just say here you can see there is from web option, correct? So I'll just go to from web, and once I get this URL prompt, what I'll do is from the Google Chrome, whatever Google Finance I had opened, see I'm copying the address of the Google Finance here and I'm pasting it in this URL box, okay? So once I do this and I say okay, you can see automatically the full web page will be loaded into Power Query Navigator. Now once in the Power Query Navigator, you can see it is starting to load the web page. So it has now loaded the web page into 9 different tables. Okay, the whole web page is now divided into 9 different tables. Or if I want to see the actual web page also, I can go to the web view and see the actual web page here also. Correct. But since I want only the tables where the stock prices are there. See, this is my table where my stock prices are there. So what I'll do, I'll just select this particular table here and I'll just say load data. Okay, if I want to transform, I can transform it first so that each and every time the data query is refreshed, it will get transformed. Or I can directly load the data into Excel file. Now, once I load the data into Excel file, you can see what will happen. It will pull the data from the website and it will load all the data here. And each and every time I press a refresh button here, what will happen? The data will keep on getting refreshed here in Excel file. So my live data will keep on getting refreshed. And even if you want, you can set an auto refresh also. How to set an auto refresh, I'll show you. If you go to the data tab, in this refresh all button, I'll select this arrow mark. In this connection properties, you can see it is asking me whether I want to enable background refresh or no. If I say yes, and I can say refresh every 1 minute. So if I'm setting this to 1 minute, what will happen? The Power Query will keep on refreshing every 1 minute. This particular table, it will keep on refreshing every 1 minute so that the data, whatever is updated on the website from second to second, from minute to minute, will be updated here also. My prices will lively be updated here, and all my calculations I can do on the live price in Excel itself. Okay. So we just now saw how to import data into Power Query through various options here. Okay. So this is how powerful Power Query is. It can connect to any kind of data source and it can pull any kind of data that you want from that particular data source. Okay, so if you guys have any doubts, what you can do is you can just go ahead and ask me, or if you on the live chat, or if you guys don't have any doubts, what we can do is we can end today's session and we'll meet again tomorrow. Okay, so this was just a basic demonstration of how powerful a Power Query is, and yeah, how to use transformations in Power Query. Whatever we saw were advanced transformations. Do try to learn those transformations also. Okay, so if you guys don't have any doubts, what we can do is we can just disconnect for today and we'll meet again tomorrow. Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you. Bye. See you tomorrow.